This story takes us back to the era of the old movie palaces. Jack Gates raises the curtain for then and now.
It's hard to imagine now, but this downtown structure was once regal. We'll explain what happened. But first, we dissolve back to the late 1920s when the California Theater building was the jewel of San Diego movie palaces.
It was by far the largest. It had 2,200 seats. It was the most ornate. In fact, instead of a movie palace, they called this one a movie cathedral when it opened.
Bruce Coons with the Save Our Heritage organization is trying to save the movie cathedral and this history. Construction of the California Theater at 4th and C downtown began in 1926. In 1927, the California Theater opened with a high-rise of offices above, a Spanish colonial revival architectural treasure. The theater provided a glitzy night out for moviegoers.
There was a time when public buildings were, a joy to behold and an event just to come to the building.
This was the original marquee for the California Theater grand opening. By the 1950s, a new neon marquee was in place, featuring at the time John Wayne in Sands of Iwo Jima. Time lapse to now, that marquee is beat up, boarded, but the name remains. The side of the building is now fenced off for safety.
There were shops and restaurants along here at different times that came in and out.
And if you were here in 1955, you could see the movie Marquee, the main feature treasure of Pancho Villa. Notice the silver cask bar on the corner. Now that same shot looks like this. From the 20s through the 50s, the area was buzzing with activity.
Even in the 60s, it was still quite a place.
In fact, in August of 1964, Beatle Mania erupted at the California Theater. Girls lined up for the opening of the Beatles' first movie. The California Theater was packed with Fab Four fanatics. Bruce Coons, then about 10 years old, was in the theater and says every time the Beatles came on the screen, it was deafening.
Of course, I couldn't hear a darn thing because all the women in the audience were screaming so loud, you couldn't hear any of the music.
And where those screaming girls stood waiting in line to see A Hard Day's Night, the area is desolate now. It's seen better days. The theater closed for good in the late 1980s when large movie houses went out of fashion. At about this point in the story, you're probably asking yourself, well, why don't they show us the inside of this once grand motion picture theater? What does it look like inside now? Well, we tried. After having several owners, the building fell into bankruptcy. In 2008, the property was sold to an LA investment group to recoup money it was owed. We asked to get inside, but were denied permission.
I think there's a number of good uses that the theater could be put to.
Here's what it used to look like inside. The preservation group Heritage Architecture and Planning took these pictures of the theater during a tour in 2005.
It looks like there's been quite a bit of deterioration since that time. It looks like the roof is now leaking.
So can the glory days come alive again? There have been proposals for the building over the years, from a hotel complex to a new city hall to renovating the theater itself.
I think San Diego is a place that could support at least one first-class movie theater with a restaurant to make it an event to have people come out.
Coons' group did get the building an historic designation, but the building is literally falling apart.
You know, there are some deterioration problems, but none worse than what the Balboa Theater was.
The Balboa Theater near Horton Plaza did recently get a big makeover with city help. Coons thinks the California Theater could get the same treatment, but so far the current theater owners have no plans.
They have to preserve it unless there's no feasible alternatives to preserving it.
It might be lost?
It could still be lost. It's still in great danger. It's why it's on our most endangered list for this year.
An uncertain fate for a once grand theater then, that's in critical condition now. I'm Jack Gates, Channel 4 San Diego.